Welcome to the Missouri Valley Conference Game of the Week preview show presented by Mercy. They're the official orthopedics and sports medicine provider of the Missouri Valley Conference. With Associate Head Coach Jason Slay, I'm Harry Schroeder. The Illinois State Redbirds will be playing on your local gray media station, Matrix Midwest, here in St. Louis, and they'll be taking on the Belmont Bruins. And, Coach, first of all, thanks for joining us today. When I think about being an associate head coach, tell me what that means versus what you were doing just a year ago with the Redbird squad.
Yeah, it's not much different, especially the way we operate. I think it's different meetings for different staffs, but here we kind of all work together. I help with our personnel and our defense, Coach Judson and I. So nothing changed a lot. Just with me being in my second year now, just probably having a little more voice in meetings and recruiting and things like that. But we work by committee around here.
You don't look old enough to be all the places you've been. I was looking at your resume: Tennessee State, East Tennessee State, VMI, Youngstown State, South Florida. I knew you were going to be 100 years old when I saw you on screen here today. You've had quite a bit of experience for such a young man.
Yeah, I turned 40 next month. And this is my ninth stop in 16 years of coaching. So I've bounced around a little bit, but been fortunate to be around some good people, good coaches, and have learned a lot throughout my journey.
And a guy that's been everywhere is Coach Judson. What have you learned from him while in your brief stay there in Bloomington Normal?
Coach Justin, like I said, we work hand in hand. He's a very wise man. He has actually taught me a lot about basketball for sure, but he's also taught me about life. He's a Christian man. He's a believer in faith, and I am as well. And he's taught me a lot. He has the best sayings and quotes that I've ever been around. So tremendous guy, tremendous guy.
I know he's super well respected all across the Missouri Valley Conference and the whole Midwest, the basketball world. Saturday, the war on 74 didn't go your way, but talk about the environment Saturday. They had nearly 10,000 people there. Just talk a little bit about that rivalry game and that environment that you guys experienced on Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday at 1 o'clock, and it was probably about the we come out the last time around 7 minutes, and I heard our guys, and they were, a couple of our new guys. They was like, "Wow, this is a high major feel." It was electric in there. I mean, it was kids everywhere, fans everywhere. Great atmosphere to play in for college basketball. So I thought it represented the Missouri Valley very well.
You guys didn't fare particularly well, and particularly on the offensive side. And I know that they're an outstanding elite defensive team. But what were the Bradley Braves doing to your guys, and what maybe did your guys need to sharpen up on Saturday?
Yeah, just breaking down the film again, we felt like it was in our control. We missed a lot of chippy shots around the rim, and we missed some open threes that we usually make. So when we look back on it on the film, we feel like we were in a little more control than the way it went in the game. Obviously, their defense is tremendous, but we didn't help ourselves in some certain areas, and obviously we need Chase Walker to be, at his best, and he had a rough game. So we'll bounce back from it, we'll learn from it, and continue to grow.
I want to ask you about Belmont, but before I do, your time at Hargrave Military Academy, talk about that. It's such a highly respected prep program across the country. And over the weekend, I was talking to some people about some of those programs like there and other places that people know about. But your time there had to be instructive and kind of help you understand where these things were going to be going for you.
Yeah, it was a great experience for me. I was coming from Division II in West Virginia State, where I played and coached at, and that was my first anything outside of West Virginia, and it was very eye-opening. I mean, I had the pleasure of coaching Terry Rozier, Anton Gill, who played at Louisville, Greg McClendon, who played at Wake Forest. So we had these coaches coming in every single day to recruit our players. So it was super eye-opening. But the biggest thing I took away from it was that it's a very family oriented group. Like anybody that comes through Hargrave, you talk about brotherhood. We're still connected to this day. We still talk. We're actually trying to push for a 30 for 30 for Hargrave Military Academy.
There you should it should happen.
Yeah, it should happen because there's a lot of history there and helped me grow up a lot for sure in the short period I was there and forever embedded to Hargrave Military Academy.
And if you're going to be an elite program, you got to recruit Hargrave, don't you?
Yes, for sure, for sure. It's one of my first stops. It's
Yeah.
still to this day. When we able to go out in September, it's one of my first stops.
You guys are at the halfway point. The whole league is at the halfway point of the conference schedule, and yeah, there might be a game or two that you wish we could have had that one, or we didn't get this one, or we stole that one. But how do you evaluate? How would you grade the Redbirds through the halfway point of the conference season?
Yeah, we've been in some close matches. We've lost a couple heartbreakers, and our biggest thing is just trying to improve every day and not necessarily worrying about the record. Obviously, we know what time of period it is now and at the halfway point and don't have much longer to go. So we have great urgency about that, but our focus is on improvement, and whether we win or lose, we want to come back the next day and try to learn from it. So that's where our focus is, and we're excited about the second half of the season here.
I know that it's not brand new, but it's still a little bit early in the scout as you guys think about playing Belmont this week. But talk about the Bruins. What are some of the things that they do really well?
Yeah, well, they're electric offensively. They are elite shooting team. They play with great pace, which our first game 99 to 97 went to overtime. So offensively they're elite. I think they have five guys that was in double figures against us the first time. They scored 97 points last game. So offensively we got to be locked in. They play fast. And we got to make sure we get back and set our defense and be able to guard those guys for sure.
When you think about the defensive end, and I know you're a little bit of a defensive minded guy, you help some teams really become outstanding defensively. What are the things the Redbirds need to sharpen up in general on the defensive side of the floor?
Yeah, well, number one key for this game is transition defense. So again,
Mm.
getting back, setting our defenses, they play with great pace. And then just our urgency. That's one of the things we're going to talk about today is just having urgency and communication because we have a smart group in our locker room, but just sometimes we're just not as urgent enough. So I think if we're on point, our communication's on point, we're flying around and doing what our principals tell us to do, then I think we can be a pretty good defensive team, but we have to prove that and we have to earn that and we have to go for that every day.
I have my obligatory weekly question about Scunberg. Is he any closer to coming back?
You know what? He's day to day right now, and he's actually progressed over the last week. So he'll actually go through a workout today to see where he is because he has not done anything up and down or even shooting up and down on his foot. So we're going to test it out more today, and then we'll go further from there.
There we go. Breaking news right here on the show. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
yeah, yeah.
Before we let you go, when I think about that seat next to the coach, we talked about this earlier, but as the associate head coach, and you end up maybe doing some things like this, are there other responsibilities? Some coaching staffs, Fred's going to be in charge of the defense and Bill's going to be in charge of the offense. Do you guys have any breakdowns like that in your staff?
Yeah, we do. We do. So Coach Dockage is our offensive coordinator. And then Coach Judd and I are co-defensive coordinators. And then I do our personnel as well. So going over the other teams' tendencies and everything like that. I'll start the today off with those meetings, and then we'll progressively go into Coach Judd doing defensive stuff, and then Coach Dockett's ending with offensive stuff. And then him and Coach Peaton work together on that because obviously Coach Peaton has a great offensive background. So again, we all work together, even our support staff. We break it down to late game strategies and out of bounds plays and stats and all that. So everybody's kind of involved with each game plan, which is a little different from other staffs when, usually three assistants just split it up in thirds and you have the whole scout, offense, defense, personnel. Again, we're hands on with every game plan here.
That's associate head coach Jason Slay of the Illinois State Redbirds. Thanks for joining us today, coach.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Well, for information on where you can catch those games, head to mvc-sports.com. For the Missouri Valley Conference, I'm Harry Schroeder.